is what we should have in mind when we celebrate the Hiloula of the Rabbi Yaakov.
How are you?
You know, I could stay over here
2 hours. But don't stay 5 minutes.
and discuss all night. We could discuss the miracles and the wonders that were witnessed firsthand about Rabbi Yaakov. But the truth is that if we discuss only that, it's a great excuse for us to say, that's Rabbi Yaakov and that's us. Think about it. Last year, Avi and I and Mike and Idor and Jackie and others visited the city of Butnib. Butnib is where Abraham's grandfather was born. Butnib is where Avi's grandfather was born. Butnib was a city, and it still is a city today, that the only thing you're going to see is the UNICEF workers feeding the children. There's no cell phones, there's no electricity, there's no plumbing. It's the same as it always was. And here we are in Los Angeles. I can't think of a more different place than to celebrate a Hiloula. It's so different. We're busy with insurances and mortgages and all types of things that take our head. And in Butnib and the south, where the Abuchatzira family was cultivated and grew, it was pure spirituality in the air. Second to none besides Eretz Yisrael. In the world. In the world. I can tell you the following. What we have to learn from this Hiloula is one trait that Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira had, and take that trait home with us. And I thought about it a lot ever since Avram told me yesterday that we were going to do the Hiloula tonight. I thought a lot about what we can say to give over that could really make a difference to us. I don't want to just speak here and say stories and then everybody goes ahead and says that has nothing to do with me. I want us really to examine the life of Rabbi Yaakov and to see how it makes a difference to us. And hopefully everybody will take upon herself something. And that midah, that character trait is 2 words. Mesirut nefesh. Mesirut nefesh means self-sacrifice that Rabbi Yaakov had. He grew up in that small city. He was born in the year 1805. Tavkuf Samir Vav. He was born. The year that Baba Meir says in a tape, that the year that the Chida was, that day that the Chidar was niftar, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, was the day that Rabbi Yaakov was born. When the sun set of the Chida, the sun rose of the Abir Yaakov. It was a new generation. He grew in tremendous sweat and toil. There was nothing else to do. I was walking with my friend Mr. Abisser over here. He told me there was nothing else to do there. Either you were a bum and you were just doing nothing all day, or you sat and you soaked up Torah. And that's exactly what Rabbi Yaakov did. But it didn't come to him on his own. He wasn't born with a halo on his head. He worked for it very strong. You know, there was one story that stuck out in my mind. In the city of Marrakesh, where's Rafi Gabay? Where's Rafi? In the city of Marrakesh, and the time when Rabbi Yaakov was there, one of the great Chachamim of Marrakesh, his name is Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira. He was one of the great Chachamim, one of the greatest in all of Morocco, Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira. They had a yeshiva in Marrakesh. It was known. If you wanted Gemara, you went to Marrakesh. Halacha, you went to Fez. Good thing we don't have anybody from Meknes over here. And Rabbi Yaakov went to Marrakesh, and he found himself in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira, that they were studying a Tosfot. Abraham and I studied a Tosfot this morning in the Kollel. It was difficult. They studied this Tosfot for 3 days. They couldn't come to a solution until they said, we have no choice. We have to add on 2 lines that were erased over the years. They came to Rabbi Yaakov. They said, let's see how Rabbi Yaakov is going to solve this problem. They showed him the issue. They showed him the problem. Rabbi Yaakov looks at it and he says, I need time. It was the middle of the summer. I'm sorry, it was the middle of the winter. Freezing cold over there in Marrakesh. He sat down, sweated, until after 2 or 3 hours he said, bring me a pen. He added on 2 lines on his own, exactly what he knew was missing, what they came up to after days. That was the toil of Rabbi Yaakov. One time he sensed, Abiruach HaKodesh, that the city of Fez had a problem in the yeshiva, that for 3 days they couldn't solve a certain issue. He gathered up his belongings and traveled all the way there to help solve the problem with his Ruach HaKodesh. We could speak about the miracles that he did, but the most important thing to know is the way that he was committed with the Mesirut Nefesh of Torah is parallel to none, and that's how he grew. You know that the whole family of Abuchatzira, they're known for their miracles, but their whole life they were Rashi Yeshivot, learning and teaching Torah. That's where their power of Torah was. And that means that by them, their Mesirut Nefesh, their self-sacrifice, was on their level, putting in their extra 15 hours of learning. But for us, it means little things. We're scared about putting a little bit more effort to come to our Torah class, a little bit more effort to try to pray with kavanah or to put on our tefillin that day. What we learned from Rabbi Yaakov is to push ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone. It doesn't matter where we are. We could be in Budnim or we could be in Los Angeles. We push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and that could lead us into something very great. I want to tell you one more thing. When Rabbi Yaakov was niftar, everybody knows he was buried in Demanhur, in Egypt. He was buried in Egypt. I brought with me this book over here, which has an original document that was printed by 3 of the students of Rabbi Yaakov when he was niftar. Please, Rabotai, listen to this. There was 3 students. It's written, I think it's even notarized. Rabbi Machluf Sharbit, Rabbi David Alevi, and Rabbi Eliyahu Buzaglo. They were students of Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira, and they helped perform the tahara when he died. You know what tahara is? That they washed the body and they got it prepared for burial. He writes over here, and I'll try to read it. Be'ed harechitza b'pnima b'shiva kelim. When we were washing the body with the 7 vessels. V'dibro im hakadosh v'nistar lahem v'nityashev b'yeshivato. While we were performing the tahara on Rabbi Yaakov, on his deceased body, he got up, nityashev b'yeshivato b'kedusha. We saw with our eyes, panim bepanim. This is not a story that I'm telling you that I heard from this one's grandmother while she was washing the dishes at this grandfather's house. I'm reading to you from an official document over here from Rabbi David Alevi, and the 3 students signed on it. Could we believe the Kedusha v'Tahara of Rabbi Yaakov after he was niftar already? But this is where it starts. We have no idea the history that happened afterwards. In 1941, listen to this story. I'm sure some of you heard it before. Rommel was advancing very closely there against the Allied troops. It was a very close war against the Nazis, against the Allies. It was in 1941 by the train tracks in Egypt. There was a specific place over there. I wrote down the place called El Amien. I looked it up today. It's on the border of Egypt, right next to Israel. And they were right there. And the Nazis were gaining traction and the Allies were weakening. The Hachamim and the people in Israel were frantic. It was Palestine. They were frantic. 1941. They prayed. Needless to say, the wars, we all know what happened in Morocco, how it was so close also that all of us, I don't know where we would be today if the Nazis would have won this battle, would have won on this front. But listen to what happened. There was one Chacham in Israel. His name was Rabbi Yitzchak Alfia. He has a book that he wrote. He has a book. I can show you the book. He writes the following. That came to him in a dream, Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira. And by the way, a little bit time before that, the Arabs went into Demanhur, into the Kever, took out the Sifrei Torah, just like they did in Iran a week ago. They took the Sefer Torah, they ripped him up, and they defiled the kever of Rabbi Yaakov. 1941. So this Rabbi Yitzchak Alfia dreamt that Rabbi Yaakov came to him and told him, why aren't you coming to pray by my kever? The whole Hatzalah, the success of Am Yisrael is dependent upon these tefillot. Rabbi Yitzchak Alfia gets up, and he didn't know who Rabbi Yaakov was. He was a chacham from Yerushalayim. He didn't know, they didn't have printing presses that were so common. I don't know what happened. He didn't know. He goes to his yeshiva in Bet El. He goes to the yeshiva, that's the yeshiva of the Mekubalim in Yerushalayim, and he tells them, I dreamt yesterday of Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira. He came to me, he says that I have to pray by his kever. They told him, what, you don't know Rabbi Yaakov? He wrote Machsof Alavan, you wrote Mishpatecha Yaakov, Pitoch Lechotam, Magen Tzedek. You don't know? They said, no, I don't know. They say he's one of the greatest luminaries. He's the one who gave the bracha to the mother of the Ben Ish Chai, that she should have the Ben Ish Chai. Rabbi Yaakov. He says, no, I don't know him. So they said, you have to go to try to figure out something. So what am I going to do? There was no way that anybody from Israel could go to Egypt at that time, because there was only the soldiers that were going to the front. There was no access. So he went up to the governor, to the English governor in Palestine. He says, listen, I had a dream and I have to go there and pray. We could win the war. He said, listen, my old rabbi, there's nothing I could do about it. You can't get a visa to go to Egypt. There's no civilian trains that are going there. He says, what can I do? He says, go there as a regular rabbi, go among the soldiers. If nobody stops you, you go. He goes back to his friends. They tell him, what are you, crazy? You're going to be an old rabbi going with the soldiers. They're not going to recognize you're going? He says, I have to try anyways. He put his life on the line. He went on the train, and nobody recognized him. An older rabbi with a bunch of soldiers. He got to Egypt safely. He walks into the Egyptian community synagogue, and they say, what in the world are you doing here, Rav Alfia? How did you get here from Egypt? There's no access. He told them the whole story. They said right away, they gathered a minyan. They did the whole Seder Ta'anit Dibur. They prayed there for 3 days. They fasted. They do Shiva Kafod. They did Yud Gimel Midot. Everything you can imagine. At a certain point, Rabbi Yitzchak Alfia says, he saw a tremendous light coming out of the kever, 1941. A little time later, they went outside. They saw all the Arabs were cheering. They were able, the Allies were able to push away the Nazis, and Rommel was defeated. 1941. We have no idea the zechut of Rabbi Yaakov. We are alive here today because of his zechut. Rabotai, we are dealing with a very, very important event tonight. Rabbi Yaakov celebrating the Kiddush of the Tzaddik. So we're just going to walk away and say this has nothing to do with us? Let me tell you the opportunity that I want to offer you. Recently, I want to show you a picture of this. We have it across the street by us, and other places have it as well. About 20 books were reprinted by Rabbi Yaakov by a certain organization called Oz Behadar that is experts in being able to explain. That's fine. They're the best on the market. And with the encouragement and the help of Rabbi Abuchatzira from Nahariya, they printed 20 volumes of the Torah of Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Abuchatzira. Unbelievable work that everybody over here can understand. I was in a synagogue in Hancock Park a couple days ago. I picked up a pamphlet about different Hasidut. There's Breslev, and there's Ger, and there's Chabad, and everything. And they also put in Pituchei Chotam of Rabbi Yaakov. The Torah of Rabbi Yaakov is starting to be learned all over the world. Rabbi Yaakov all over the world. With the permission of my friend David Ohayon, who helped start together with Pinchas on Thursday night our shiur. I want to start calling our shiur from today, Thursday night, 8:30 p.m., the shiur Yagel Yaakov, which we will learn the Torah of Rabbi Yaakov Abuchatzira. Those of you who want to know the location, it's by the Link Kollel a couple blocks away on Robertson. You can ask David Ohayon to get on the group, and we learn every Thursday night of the year. If it's majority French people, we learn in French. Otherwise, we have to see the language, but we learn the Torah of Rabbi Yaakov, learn the Torah of the Zohar Kadosh, and we're going to learn Be'ezat Hashem. This year we're going to put our efforts to learn some of the piyutim of Yagid Yaakov. But that's only by us. There's other places that you can learn. Wherever you're comfortable in learning with your rabbi, try to get access to these Sfarim of Rabbi Yaakov. And not only that, learning Torah with Mesirut Nefesh. That is the lesson we learn from Rabbi Yaakov. Amen.